Once upon a time, there was a little boy who lived with his even smaller brother in a small house in the middle of the countryside next to the woods. Every day, the little boy would take his little brother into the woods and talk about all the things in the woods to his brother. He would explain what the things were. For example, he said, "Look at this tree. Can you see the trees are covered in bark? Inside the bark is the wood, the tree trunk, but on the outside is the bark. That protects the tree. And look here, some mushrooms are growing on the soil. You can't eat these mushrooms because they're poisonous. And oh look, under this stone there are some woodlice, which are, you know what they look like. They can roll up into little balls, or they can run along with their many feet."
Well, I've seen them in Bugs Life.
That's right. And so the little boy would tell his brother all about the unusual things in the forest, and they'd look at the different things. For example, one day they saw a squirrel, and he said, "Look, there's a squirrel scampering up the tree with a nut in its mouth. Do you know that squirrels gather nuts, and then in the autumn they gather the nuts, and then they bury them so that when the winter comes they can dig them up and find them to eat, because there's no food in the winter." And then they would see some birds flying in the trees and look at the birds, and the little boy would tell his brother what type of birds they were. Blackbirds, which are black, of course. Crows, which are bigger and black. Then there's starlings, and then there's robin redbreasts and thrushes. Well, I don't know the names of all the birds, but there were lots of birds there. One day, in a field next to the forest, they saw a heron standing on one leg. One day they went to the forest with some spades and started to dig a hole. As they dug the hole, there were lots and lots of little insects scurrying around inside the hole where they were digging, and lots of worms, of course, came out. Yeah, they had a good time digging the hole, and then they found a little stream running through the forest, and they started to drop sticks into it and leaves into it to see how fast the leaves and sticks would run down, flow with the stream. So the two boys decided to have a race. Each one got a leaf, and they dropped their leaf at the same time, and then they said, "My one's winning, no, my one's winning," and the leaves were going neck and neck, and they tried to see which leaf would win as a game. And then they went in the water with their Wellingtons on and started to turn over the stones to see if they could see any little fish. They saw one or two little tiny things swimming, but they didn't see any fish. And then they found a pond with the water from the stream flowed into the pond, and there was another stream coming out of the other end flowing out. But the pond was quite large, and they looked around and they saw lots of little tiny black things swimming, very, very small, with black tails and two big eyes. "What's that?" said the little brother. And the big brother said, "Those are tadpoles. Do you know what tadpoles are?" "No," said the little boy. "Let's see if you know what tadpoles are. Do you know what tadpoles are, Aidan?"
No.
Tadpoles will grow into frogs. When they're babies, they swim under the water, but when they get bigger...
I saw them in Doggy.
You saw them where?
I saw them on the television.
You saw them on the television, did you?
Yes, about Doggy.
Okay, on one of the Dougie programs.
Yes, but it looks like baby. Look, baby.
Baby what? Fish?
No, not
Dinosaurs?
No.
Chickens?
No.
Well, I don't know what they look like babies of. Baby whales?
No.
Well, anyway, they're little black creatures with two eyes, very big eyes, and a tail which swims like that all the time.
Well, I will. doggies, they look like squares. No, triangles.
Do they?
Yes.
Anyway, the two little boys then went and got their bicycles and rode round and round the lake over and over again, up and down and round and over the bumps and down the dips and up and down. It was great fun. They had a wonderful time riding their bike around the pond. Quite a large pond, but they had to be very careful not to fall in. But they didn't fall in. And then they went to take the neighbour's dog for a walk in the forest. Oh, the dog loved the forest. Do you know why dogs love forests?
No.
Because there's lots of interesting things to smell. Because all sorts of animals live in the forest, like foxes, which you don't see in the daytime, they're hiding. But the dog can smell them, all the smells of the rabbits, the foxes, the squirrels, lots of very interesting smells to smell. So the dog loved the forest and was running around. Then it got to the pond, and do you know what it did? Something a bit naughty. Have a guess.
Well, he jumped in.
Jumped in the water. Oh no, said the boys, you're going to be all wet. Come out, come out. So the dog came out and then shook himself like that, all over, and soaked the boys as he shook himself. The boys took the dog back home to its owner, and the owner was not at all pleased to find a wet dog, because the wet dog would make the house wet if it lay on the carpet or lay on the sofa. So anyway, they weren't happy about that, I can tell you, the owner. But anyway, the boys promised not to let the dog in the water next time. Then they went in the forest and they could see in one of the trees high up a bee's nest. Hey, look, he said, the big boy, there's probably honey in that bee's nest. And then the big boy said to the little boy, why don't you climb up there and put your hand in to get the honey? Good idea?
No.
No, why not?
Because the bees in it.
Because the bees will sting him. Luckily, the little boy was not stupid. He said, you're stupid, big brother. I'm not going to put my hand in there. I'll get stung by the bees. You do it. Of course, the big brother was even less stupid. So, of course, he wouldn't do it. He just wanted to see if his little brother would do it. Do you think that was a good thing to tell his little brother or a bad thing? Would you tell it? If you had a little brother, would you ask your little brother to do something like that?
No.
No, you'd look after him, wouldn't you?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that was quite a bad brother telling his little brother that.
Well, he said naughty. That's called naughty, not bad. So anyway, what else can we talk about? What else grows in the forest? Grass, grass and mushrooms and what else? Well,
bushes.
Yes, and trees.
And trees, yes.
But after it's not blue, it's that green because the leaves.
Well, let's talk about all the trees which grow in the forest. I don't know all the names, but I know some of them. There's the willow tree, which has the branches coming down almost to the ground, called a willow. Then there's the great oak tree, which makes acorns. Then there's the chestnut tree, which makes horse chestnuts, or conkers, the big brown things.
The conker tree.
Conker tree, yes. Then what else is there? There's a tree. There's a birch tree. I think those are the ones with white bark. Gosh, there's so many trees, but I can't remember all the names.
A nest tree.
What's that?
A nest tree.
A nest tree?
Yes.
What sort of tree is that?
Well, don't know.
Is that a tree with a nest in it, maybe?
Yes.
With a bird's nest?
Yes.
So they saw a bird's nest up in the tree, and they climbed up a tree nearby to have a look, and they peeped into the nest. And do you know what they saw?
Some eggs.
Eggs?
But the mummy wasn't there because he went to get some worms.
Yeah, the mummy'd gone to get a worm for the babies when they were born.
Anyway, what else can I tell you? Is there anything else to tell you?
Well, the trees have branches on them.
That's right. The trees have branches, and the branches have twigs, and the twigs have leaves. What else can we say? And sometimes there are stray animals which come into the forest. Like if the farmer leaves the gate open to his field, the cows might come out and go into the forest. Because that's what cows do. They go where they're not supposed to go.
All the animals do
Yeah,
that.
I guess any animal would do that. That's what they do.
Because it doesn't. But it doesn't happen in stories. Well, sometimes it happens in stories. Because sometimes it don't. Sometimes it does.
I think we've finished the story now. So we'll call that the end of the story, shall we?
How would you? Because.
Let's wish you good night. Good night, little boy. Sleep tight.
When I can listen to stories.
Yeah, you can listen to one, then bedtime.